mynews.studio.
Picture this. Under Dubai's midnight floodlights, world leaders are shaking hands over a deal to triple renewable energy. The big question, can they actually deliver, or is this just another promise that won't stick?
Today's date is 2025-12/18. Let's get straight to the point. Over 130 countries have signed a binding deal to triple global renewable power by 2035 and cut fossil fuel use sharply. So, what's different about this agreement compared to the past?
The main change is enforcement. This isn't just another pledge, it's a binding framework. Now, countries are required not only to scale up solar, wind, and storage, but also to double investments in grid infrastructure. We're talking about 25 million kilometers of new grid lines. That's enough to circle the Earth.
Wait, did you say 25 million kilometers? That's over 600 times around the Earth, right?
Exactly. The numbers are huge, and that's part of what sets this deal apart.
But how will anyone know if countries are actually making progress? Is there something in place to track this?
Yes, there is. An independent body will track progress and publish annual scorecards. They'll look at things like renewable capacity, phasing out coal, and capping fossil fuel use. All the data will be public, so anyone can keep tabs. And if a country slips behind, there are actual consequences, penalties on financing, even changes to trade terms.
So it's no longer just about making promises. Now there are real penalties for missing targets?
Right. The whole idea is to make transparency and accountability central. It's similar to the UN's climate reporting, but with added financial pressure.
Let's look at the Global South. How does this agreement help developing countries and protect communities as energy systems change so quickly?
There's a dedicated financing mechanism. Annual climate finance to developing countries will triple, reaching $300 billion by 2035. The money targets solar, wind, storage, and basic energy access. Each investment is mapped out, and the plan is to bring in technologies like green hydrogen and storage grids, especially in places that used to rely on fossil projects. The point is to support vulnerable populations and to make sure no new fossil-based projects get started there.
That's a lot of money, but will it really make its way to the people who need it?
That's the intention. The new system tracks investments project by project. Every country has a roadmap, and civil society can follow along. It's about making sure benefits are shared and that the transition is fair.
And what about jobs? If whole industries are shifting, what happens to workers in coal, oil, and gas?
That's one of the hardest challenges. The agreement draws from models in the US and Germany. For example, utilities in the US like Dominion and Duke are closing coal plants, investing in renewables, and running retraining programs. Germany's coal exit also included reskilling funds. The New Deal now requires similar programs everywhere: reskilling, job placement, and even keeping some natural gas as backup during the transition.
Is there a chance that communities relying on fossil fuels could be left behind?
There's always that risk. That's why every country has to submit a just transition plan. These plans cover retraining and economic diversification. The G7's move to phase out unabated coal is the model, but the real test will be how well these plans are put into action.
Why does this matter so much globally? Is this enough to keep warming below 2 degrees Celsius?
It's one of the most coordinated efforts we've seen. If countries deliver, it could hold warming between 1.5 and 2 degrees, expand affordable electricity, and improve health and stability worldwide. But everything depends on follow-through, whether these targets are met and whether penalties actually work.
So we're watching not just for more wind turbines and solar panels, but for real accountability. Scorecards, funding, job transitions. It's a global experiment in cooperation.
Exactly. A success or failure of this deal affects billions: energy access, jobs, and the climate itself.
That wraps up our look at the world's most ambitious energy deal so far. The big question, will countries follow through?
Thanks for joining us as we broke down the facts behind the headlines.
Thank you for listening. This episode was powered by mynews.studio. Try it now for free.